Previously in the Flat Earth Institute of Science.
The only shape that can cast a shadow that's curved from any direction you put the light is a sphere.
Now, the only shape we know of that always casts a round shadow is a ball.
Now, I didn't include this part last time, but I had to include it this time because I've seen this guy bouncing around in some of the Flat Earth Facebook groups out there talking smack. So listen carefully to his direct quote.
The only shape that consistently casts a circular shadow regardless of its orientation is a globe.
He seems to be repeating the words of Neil Tyson there. So let's get him in here as well so we can see a more full lineup of the different experts making the same claim, establishing an academic consensus.
And the only thing that makes a perfectly circular shadow
would be something that's perfectly circular.
Perfectly spherical.
Spherical.
Yes. So the only thing that makes a perfect circle shadow every single time is a perfect sphere.
Right.
Okay? No matter what angle you shine.
This argument is not original to me. The first mention I know of it goes back to 350 BC. Aristotle and On the Heavens used that very argument. And I still think it's one of the best because people can see this for themselves.
All right, you've now heard the consensus. So today I give you the long-awaited shadow origami. Here we're going to take the shadow of a ball and demonstrate how it doesn't always cast a circular shadow, directly contrary to their claim. All right, so here's our light source, here's our ball, and it looks like we got a circular shadow there. But watch what happens as we change the angle of that light source. Whoa! That does not look like a circle anymore. That is an oval. Oh, but wait, there's more. Hey look, a pear! Now let's see how triangular we can make this. That is interesting. If someone were to try to figure out the shape of the ball just by looking at the shape of the shadow, someone might think the ball was a cone. An acorn! And now, the piece de resistance. A heart. Boom!
The only shape that consistently casts a circular shadow regardless of its orientation is a globe.
Dr. Thaler, Dr. Nye, Dr. Faulkner, Dr. Tyson, everyone watching this, I hope we can all agree that a heart is not a circle. And thereby, I hope we can all agree that your claim that spheres always cast circular shadows is wrong. Furthermore, I hope we can all agree that the shape of the shadow is entirely dependent upon the angle of the surface it lands upon. The more that surface tilts away from the object casting the shadow, the more it will alter the shape of the shadow. And since a ball has a surface that tilts away from an object casting a shadow on it, that should affect the shadow that lands upon it. Alright. Now here's the full story of what led up to my observations last time. Having studied art, I was aware of this. So I looked at the moon and said, hey, if the moon is a ball, and that were the Earth's shadow crossing it, that curved surface should warp the shadow. So when we look at a picture like this, why do we see it this way? Why don't we see a flower-shaped image when people show it in a half circle like that? So when I pulled out a ball and decided to cast that shadow onto another ball, this was my hypothesis. I was expecting it to take the curve and make it more narrow. So you can imagine my surprise when these are the results I got. I then published those results and made my point, that a tilted surface warps the shadow that lands upon it. In this case, taking that curved shadow and making it straight. And it seems like I wasn't the only one who was shocked by those results, because soon after I got the video published, I got a nasty message from the anti-flat earther MC Toon, who is usually pretty respectful with me, but here he was repeatedly calling me a liar.
Liar! Liar! Liar!
Get back, witch!
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife! But after what you just said, I'm not even sure I want to be that anymore!
No, I didn't lie about anything. Those are very real results. Here I'm doing it again, and I'm showing you my setup here. There's my daughter with the light. Here's our ball that I'm using to cast the shadow. And there's our basketball. Okay. Straight shadow. All the way up. Look at that. It is not fake. There are no lies about it. Oh, but you deceive people by not doing it to scale. You also fail to realize that a circle appears to be an ellipse unless you are orthogonal to it. A sphere appears as a circle regardless of orientation. And that was one of the things that led up to this video. I'm sorry, MC Toon, but circles don't have any corners, and this shadow has 2. But let's explore your argument that I didn't do it to scale. You are not the only one who has thrown that argument at me. Vimal Ramachandran made that very same argument on my debate board, and then Jeffrey Pinion had the balls to support that argument with a demonstration of his own. Here he is using the sun as his light source, and is taking the shadow of a ball and is casting it onto another ball. And look, it's got a curved shadow. This whole argument against me was about scale, right? Do you think that shadow's to scale? That looks about the same size as the ball there. When I did my experiment, I was trying to get this shadow to be comparable in size to this shadow. Or this shadow in NASA's diagram. So, whose model are you representing there? If you want to claim NASA's model is wrong, I won't stop you. And Bill, I won't stop you either.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
Science rules.
Yeah! You know, I actually considered doing that. But I didn't because I was concerned about what kind of fumes that would put into the air. Burning plastic can be dangerous. Anyway, if we're talking scale here, I've got to ask, what do you claim that right scale is? Perhaps you could help NASA out because they seem to be having a hard time making up their mind on the matter. Each of these diagrams are directly from NASA. I am not making this up. I've got links in this video's description. This video was brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science. Thank you for watching. If you see something you disagree with, please feel free to come join our debate board. It is totally free and would be happy to hear what you have to say, so long as you can be respectful. There is a link in this video's description.